Hello and welcome to another special edition of Wake Up and Live with the Arts. I'm Sue Johnson, your co-host today, along with Lester Bryan, our videographer behind camera, because we are excited to welcome two of Cleveland's greatest artistic talents that all of you will know in the community. We are welcoming today Faye Sholiton. You know her as a playwright. She's wearing her producer's hat today. And Jacqi Loewy. You know her as an actor, director, a Renaissance woman when it comes to the arts. And we're welcoming them to our Wake Up and Live with the Arts show, which celebrates and showcases the diversity of the performing arts and artists in Northeast Ohio. And we bring you this program as a community service, which you can see on YouTube, Cox Cable, and Cleveland Cable Access. Now, having said all that, let's welcome our guests this afternoon, Miss Faye Sholiton and Miss Jacqi Loewy. Glad that you were able to stop by and chat with us a few minutes.
We like the air conditioning.
And thank God it hasn't gone out. Yes. And so we are delighted to have you here because you have a special project coming up this weekend, June 23rd, June 24th, and 25th.
Yes.
And you are presenting a free reading of a play called
Defamation.
And tell us a little bit about Defamation.
The play is written by a Chicago playwright. His name is Todd Logan. And it is a piece that, can I back up and talk about Interplay?
Sure,
because the theater company is something relatively new and something people might not have heard of yet.
Okay.
Interplay is a company that was formed to fill the void left after the Halley Theater closed, which was our Jewish theater in town. And we've been a few years without an official Jewish theater company in Cleveland. So Interplay is an attempt to bridge from that time when we were doing full productions of theater to at least reinvigorate and reintroduce Jewish theater, Jewish-themed theater in town. And our mission is to produce works that view the world, the contemporary world, through a Jewish lens. So at least we're addressing some of the issues that are important to us in the community. And of course they involve other members of the community because we share the global village. So Defamation is our newest in a series of free readings, and we are producing it because the topic feels very timely. In the play there is a fellow who invites a woman to his home to discuss her helping out with the project. And after she leaves his home, he notices that his heirloom wristwatch is missing. And he picks up the phone and he calls her and says, "Have you by any chance seen my watch?" And lots of bad things happen after that.
From that point on.
And they end up in court. And Defamation is the courtroom drama. It's all fiction, but it could happen. And that is why we're bringing it, because the woman in question is an African-American woman, and the fellow who has brought her to his home is a wealthy suburban businessman. And we as audience watch these things. We have sort of an idea of what might have happened, and over the course of the case, we're not really sure what happened.
Okay. And so you are in charge of directing this up-and-coming masterpiece with some of Cleveland's local talent. Particularly my other daughter, Tina Stump, is actively involved in the play. So tell us a little bit about the type of staged reading that this will be. Will this be with blocking? Will it be at music stands? Because one of the things we do here at the Actors Studio, we have different levels of staged reading. So what will your version look like?
Well, I'm not, I'm not, no offense, but a big fan of the music stand stage reading.
Right,
I
but
like
we
to
don't do
put
that
some
either.
activity in so that audiences get a better sense of what it will really look like on stage. This particular play is really easy because it takes place in a courtroom, so there are two tables and a judge's chair and a witness chair. So it's not hard to do. you know, I think it'll feel just as realistic as a fully mounted production, of which there have been several already.
Of this particular play?
Yes, there
okay.
have. So it's not a new play. It's something that's been touring out of Chicago for a while. But Faye discovered it through another actor that we work with a lot, Jeff Grover.
Sure, Jeff, yes.
Yeah, who is friends with the playwright and thought it would be a good piece for us, for Interplay, for Faye's company. And it turns out it is. I think it's going to be a really exciting evening of theater.
And this exciting evening of theater is actually one afternoon and one evening.
It is.
Tell us, tell our audience the day and time where you'll be performing and the location.
Right. It's going to be a Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock and a Monday night at 7, both at Ensemble Theater.
Which is now in the...
It's in the Coventry district, right? But it's the old Coventry Elementary School. And they've done a really, really great job of turning it into a nice little intimate space.
Black box space?
It's a three-quarter. It's a thrust space.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's really Celeste... Cosentino, you know,
the artistic director,
Leisha's daughter, has done a great job, and her partner Ian Hines. So we're looking forward to it. It's interactive also, which I think is the reason Faye thought of me to direct it, because of my work with Tony and Tina, and we got a bingo and all that
kind of thing.
Second City, and because it doesn't put anybody on the spot, but a good portion of the play involves input from the audience.
I see. And you have some of the actors around town. Who's in the play right now?
Actually, one of the great thrills of directing for Faye is she usually lets me choose my favorite actors.
Okay.
So we have Robert Hawks, who will play the judge.
You know, I've never met him.
Oh, he's
I keep hearing
you'll
his
enjoy
name.
him. He's wonderful. Jeff Grover, as I said, is playing the wealthy businessman that Faye mentioned. I was lucky to have the opportunity to give one of my students, Kadia De Silva Brackens.
Okay.
I can't say that right. De Silva Brackens.
Gotcha.
Who graduated from Notre Dame College 2 years ago, and I think is a really spectacular undiscovered talent. She's just delightful, and she'll be new to the audiences. And then some old timers, Tina Stump, as you mentioned, who was in Menopause the Musical.
Oh, yes.
And Carly Germany, who was recently at Dobama in Middletown. Was it? Yeah, Middletown.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that
also
one.
an extraordinary actress. And then Tom Woodward, who's another one of my favorite equity actors in town.
Okay, and how long is the play, the staged reading version? How long will that take? About is it 90 minutes?
It's 90 minutes
with or
scripted,
without,
and then the actual script section is 90 minutes, and then there's a 15-minute
break, intermission.
No break, no intermission.
Oh, okay.
The ending of it, which is not scripted, is the additional. So the whole thing runs about 95
That should be fun.
Minutes, right?
That should be absolute fun.
Yeah.
Now, you know, we are a teaching organization along with being entertaining and all that artistic. And we don't want to assume the basics, but defamation, what does that word mean? What does that title mean?
In this case, it's very clear. It's a legal term that when you defame someone, you use their name in a way that's going to harm them. And to prove it, you have to prove that it has been harmful, in this case, in a monetary way.
So that makes it even more exciting.
Exactly.
To see what's
it ups
going to
the
happen.
stakes. It's one thing to feel insulted, and it's another thing to prove damage. And in order for that to happen, you know, it just unravels, and you learn more and more. It's peeling the layers of this wonderful onion.
Okay, and you founded Interplay, the production company that is presenting this?
Yes.
And tell me again, how long ago did you do that? And I know what possessed you, but what possessed you at that moment?
Because I'm not sure.
We're all still trying to figure that out.
That's been a big question on a lot of people's minds.
Yeah.
I had the idea almost when the Halley closed. There was a closing ceremony that went on for 6 months in preparation and a long weekend where we put up some of the best scenes that had ever been performed in that building, which went back to 1960. Often with the original performers. So we have a sense of community here that I wanted to pick up again. And I thought about starting a staged reading company a few years ago. The JCC continued producing under new auspices after the Mayfield building closed and was razed. And last summer was the total impetus. I heard Emily Mann describe perfect theater is the interplay of head and heart.
Oh,
and
I love
I thought,
that. Yeah.
yes, that's what it is, where all of the important systems are working and it touches you in a way. And it's also interplay between the audience and the people up on the stage, because that shared experience is something that can't be duplicated.
And
So
interplay
that's-
between the actors.
and the actors,
Yeah.
and the actors
Yeah.
and director, and in every possible way. Then there's also a playfulness to the title.
Okay. That sounds,
So that's where it came from, and I think, like so many things in my life, I've announced that I'm going to do it, and once I tell somebody I'm going to do it, then I have
Then
to
you have
do
to
it.
follow through.
It's how I became a playwright.
okay.
I
We're going
went
to talk
in
about that too.
Yeah, and then I went in to let them know I was taking a leave of absence, and what to do what? I said, well, I thought I'd write a play.
In the
And-
meantime, yes.
Well, no, that's what I thought I would do with my quiet time. And then once you tell somebody, you're really obligated to do it, I think.
Well, that's
and
why I
that's
never
how
tell
interplay.
anybody.
That's keep it to yourself.
Well,
if you
that's
have an
it's
idea.
the theory of action, which
Yeah, once you declare something and people say, oh, that's a good idea, and got early support. When you do free theater, you have to hope that somewhere people are
Money will
thinking,
be
well,
coming in,
maybe.
yeah.
And I didn't start it as a 501c3. I continue to not be a 501c3. So whatever gets tossed in the bowl and whatever people donate
That's
separately those are our operating costs.
Well, we can identify with that because now we are a 501c3, but I can identify with you. I was so excited when you were telling me about you were reviving Jewish theater in the community, because we lost our Ruby Fox about 4 years ago. And we always, his plays were always so well received. Some were comedies, some were more serious, but it was always about the Jewish element and the interaction amongst the different cultures. And we always had some of our best audiences when Ruby's plays were being produced. And also donations would come in a lot because the Jewish community really loved theater and the work that we were doing. And we used his plays as one of our, well, several of our popular vehicles. And the fun thing was Ruby came to our company is also age diversity. I mean, it's diversity along a lot of lines. But Ruby came into us, he was over 75 years old. And he was a testimony to age is only a number when it comes to the creative stuff. And we lost him when he was, what, 82 or 83, I think. We had him, he just up and fell asleep in the chair one morning and didn't, wake up. So we have a dearth of our contribution to the Jewish community right now. But hopefully we'll revive some of that too.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's talk about what you guys have been doing. We know now that Defamation, a staged reading, is being produced on Sunday, June 24th at 2 o'clock at Ensemble Theater. We know that it's being presented again on Monday evening, 7 o'clock, the Ensemble Theater. And tickets are free, but you are accepting donations, free will donations, to help the artistic cause. How can the community get tickets or admission? Because you do, your PR says you prefer
You like
RSVPs.
reservations.
Yes.
It's a limited size theater. It's an intimate place, which means
Okay.
there are fewer seats. And so we ask that people contact us either on the internet. The address is Interplay Jewish Theater, one word, and theater is RE, at gmail.com, or call 216-210-3150.
And we'll have that up on the screen so that people can see that as
Okay.
well.
Great.
Yeah, now you are, I'm going to talk about you for a minute as, God, what don't you do? I guess you must even empty the waste baskets and do the mops and
Actually, I
brooms.
did that today.
But as an actor and director, do you have any special projects coming up in addition to defamation?
Well, as you know, because you work with me, I'm on the full-time faculty at Notre Dame College, and I'm in my 3rd year and loving it. Okay. So what I've been doing there, people have been asking me, are you recruiting a lot of students? And I say, no, but I'm recruiting a lot of arts organizations, because we have the Shakespeare Festival in residence there.
Okay.
They just did Henry VIII, and they'll be doing As You Like It next weekend, this coming weekend, which is, my dates, the 23rd and the 22nd and the 23rd.
Okay,
As You Like It, 7 o'clock on our quad for free. Bring a lawn chair and a glass of wine or whatever. And then Mercury Summer Stock is also
there.
in residence
Yes.
on the campus, and they're running Cats now for another 2 weeks, and then Once Upon a Mattress, and then All Shook Up, the Elvis musical.
Really?
And you can get that information by going to mercurysummerstock.com. And
now, about the Cleveland Shakespeare Festival information, do they go to
cleveshakes.org.
Okay, okay.
cleveshakes.org.
And be sure to tell them where, excuse me, where Notre Dame is, so they'll that it's not in Indiana.
No, it is on Green Road. It's on Green Road, half a mile north of Cedar and half a mile south of Mayfield.
Mayfield, yeah. And plenty of parking, and it's a lovely campus.
It is a lovely campus, and it's growing.
Okay, yeah. And so, what else you got going?
No, I was just going to say, but I sort of tend to work project to project, and so right now my main focus and energy is on defamation.
Sure.
And I'm really excited about this weekend, so come out and support Interplay.
Okay, and what's on your agenda? Because you are moving, have moved, you wear a couple of hats as a playwright, well known around town, and she gave me the opportunity, the honor, to work with her on All Things Being Equal several years ago, which had a reading at Caramoo, way back, in the day. So tell me about the transition from playwright to producer, or is there any transition?
No, and in fact the joy is I am really enjoying producing other people's work. You were talking about the idea of working when you're a little bit older. You get joy out of giving back, and I'm sure that's what Ruby represented when he was doing his work with you. My work continues. I'm still generating new work, and my next reading is in Michigan, and I have a production coming up in Florida in January.
Well, you have just opened, excuse me, I didn't mean to step on your lines.
No, that's fine.
But
I think
you have brought up something that's really key to our local talent. And some of the aspiring playwrights, even actors, because we're going to talk about that for a minute too, don't realize that you can, it's not easy, keep your local address and yet have your work appear across the country. So as a playwright, would you give our audience, aspiring playwrights, advice on what do you do to get your play noticed from this spot to that spot, locally to the bigger market?
That's a whole other program. I'll come back.
Okay.
And I'm not sure I've mastered that anyway, but it's a global village right now where playwriting is concerned. And so many things that you submit to are blind submissions, so you could be writing from absolutely anywhere. I think step one is always to get the work in the best shape it can possibly be. And I think a lot of us skip that step and start sending work out too soon. So it's much better, unless you're going directly into development situation, that you work that script and see how many development opportunities you can find for it before you ultimately send it out as a serious production consideration.
Right. And I would also say it's a really collegial community. Tell people what you're doing, because sometimes a director will hear this producer's looking for a 2-character play. I know a playwright who has one. Whatever, but continue to be supportive of colleagues in all the areas of theater.
And I wouldn't be earning my keep if I didn't mention that I'm the regional representative to the Dramatist Guild.
Okay.
I'm very impressive. But as such, we are tuned in to opportunities all over the country. It puts you right in the thick of it in terms of weekly bulletins from the Guild telling you what the opportunities are and having all of the benefits of membership.
So do you recommend that playwrights who have the craft of playwriting, because we also coach playwrights who come in and just don't know that you have to have setting, characters, plot, theme, exposition, denouement, they just, they're just going to submit plays. Do you recommend that once they've got the craft and creativity of playwriting, that they submit to various festivals? And
Oh,
if
absolutely.
So, how
and
does
yes,
a playwright find out about the various festivals across the country?
It can be as simple as having a Google alert sent to you every night with new play opportunities.
Okay. Tell the camera that. It's as simple as.
You can set up a Google alert and have some keywords like 10-minute play contest or submission opportunities, one-act play contest. You'll get a lot of garbage in your email, but you'll also find out what the opportunities are.
And there's always good old NeoPal.
And locally,
yes,
of course,
local NeoPal.
and go to the theater. See as much as you can possibly see. Meet the people who are working behind the scenes. Volunteer. Spend that time, invest in other people. Eventually it does come around to you too.
Eventually. Now, Miss Loewy, darling, okay, this was that cool signal, 15 minutes we've been in talking, chatting with each other. I told you it goes fast. You are an actor and you are also well known as a director, not only artistic director, but when you audition local talent, what are you looking for in the audition for people, just like playwrights need to have their craft and skills in place? What does an actor need to bring to you at an audition?
Yeah, you know, that's an interesting question because I have an ongoing sort of fun disagreement with Fred Sternfeld because we go at it completely differently. I'm looking for people who speak my language. I'm looking for people who I want to spend time in rehearsal with. I might see some very talented people but for some reason, whatever the chemistry isn't right, I'm not going to cast them, even if they happen to have a little bit more talent than someone else. I want to cast people who think like I think. So that's the way I approach it, but I think it's a very personal decision, and everybody's different. Some people are looking for the next Broadway phenomenon, and some people are looking for just someone they would like to spend a night drinking a glass of wine with. You know?
That sounds
I mean,
delightful.
after a certain level of talent.
I
mean, certainly
yeah.
you've got to bring craft to the table. You have to come prepared to an audition. You have to be able to show me a range. You know, I have to know
that's
that you
critical.
can cover range.
Yeah. And when you say range, please elaborate for the aspiring actor.
You know, most good actors can put together an audition that will tell me who you are. But then past that, I need to know that you can go from point A to point B emotionally.
Exactly. Because you can do a whole monologue, for example, in anger and rage, and quiet anger, quiet rage, you know, screaming maniac rage, and actors have a hard time understanding sometimes that's what you mean by range. Yeah.
Well, and where are the turns? Where are the twists and turns? Where are the moments that make me go, oh, because it was this way and now it's this way? You know, you have to keep changing directions as an actor.
All the time.
Yeah.
And listening to you, I just lost my brilliant question or point that I wanted to make about.
It happens to me all the time.
And when the camera goes off, I'll go, oh, yeah, right. That was what I wanted to make sure that we talked about. Okay, so we have the signal, and you ladies have been delightful guests because you both are on tight time schedules. Is there anybody who isn't these days? You know, and you're getting ready. So, do you have rehearsal tonight or today?
We don't. We are rehearsing Thursday for several hours, Friday for several hours, and then the playwright will come in Saturday, and Sunday we'll do 3 hours before the performance Sunday afternoon.
So it takes work even to do a staged reading.
It does. Yes.
Yeah. And I saw a pretty brilliant production. I was telling you guys off camera at the Rainey Institute last night, where the Amen Corner, directed by Dale Shields, was their benefit performance with gazillions of our local African American talent. And it was not a fully staged reading, but you really got the story with them even holding book. So we could have a whole conversation about craft and so forth. But one last thought, because you are, when we were talking about directing and auditioning, and in this town we kind of are caught in the middle between actors' equity and community and professional theater. What do you find, if any, difference, as we begin to wrap up, any difference between, quote, an equity level actor and a professional or community level actor? I know the answer, but I want you to share your version.
I've been an equity actor since 1977.
Are you that old?
So I am older than that.
She was born in 76.
Born in 76.
For a very long time. And I'm someone who got my equity card right out of college. And I feel that I missed many opportunities because of that. I made a lot more money than had I stayed non-equity and did a lot of tours. But in terms of the meaty roles that I wanted opportunities to play that were being done in interesting off-Broadway theaters or small theater companies, I didn't have the opportunity to do them because they weren't covered by equity.
Right.
So I think until you're sure that your that your chops are well oiled, you know, play around in that area where you can afford to make mistakes before the big critics are coming in.
Oh yeah,
that's what I think. And you know, we have some fabulous non-equity actors in this town.
I've seen some who are better than some of the equities.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think, you know, I don't think that equity equals talent.
That's a brilliant. I love saying that myself.
You know, hopefully the equity actors are representing us well as actors.
Sure.
But it's just like any other status symbol or status stamp.
A credential, if you will, for your resume.
Some people can get it without being brilliant all the time. Or some people could do one brilliant role. But not really have the range to do many others.
Okay.
So, no, I mean, Dorothy Silver's the first example that comes to my mind. I mean, the Queen of Cleveland Theater has never been interested in joining equity, and she's phenomenal.
And she's done beyond brilliant work. Beyond. Okay, now quickly, I keep saying we're going to wrap up, and you keep going. Is she ever going to stop talking? No. We also need a human interest element, because you said you got your equity card fairly soon, right out of college. How did you get involved in acting? What is your backstory? Because everybody's story is different, and everybody had that dream or passion.
Yeah, I went to college to be a dance major.
Okay.
And it turned out that my BFA in dance was conjoined with a BFA in musical theater. So consequently, I had to take acting and I had to take some theater classes. So I ended up with a BFA in dance and musical theater, and then just went to New York and started working as a chorus girl.
Okay, and that's a whole story about how was Cleveland your original home?
No, I'm from New York City.
Oh, you are from New York.
So and after college went back to New York, where I was for 20 years before I came. I came here with a show called Sheer Madness.
Sure.
And it ran for a year, and during that year I fell in love with the city and decided to stay here.
Okay. And Miss Sholiton, our guest of honor, along with Jacqi, of course, how did you get into the playwriting business?
Well, I mentioned that I had been a journalist, and when I was winding down a job at the Cleveland Jewish News that I'd been doing for 10 years, what I was noticing was I was really, really interested in the interviewing part of the job, and hearing people speaking honestly and we hope truthfully, but what I loved was when they'd say something, they'd blurt out something and say, but you can't use that. And I would put a big X in the margin. I'd still write down what they said to remember it, but I wouldn't use it.
Okay.
And then over time, I realized that the X's were a lot more interesting to me than what I could put in the paper.
The playwriting,
playwriting is about the X's.
Oh, I like that.
When people speak honestly, and it's uncensored, and you can do that with fictitious people, as you can do in the court case and defamation. People, when they're unguarded, they reveal honestly by their behavior or their words what's really going on. They betray themselves. That's what good theater does, and that's why I wanted to cut over.
And with that, I guess we will finally bring this interview to a close, mercifully for them. And we want to.
We're having a great time. You said when we started, we have to keep it to 15 minutes.
Well,
we're trying to protect yourself.
That's right.
We're trying to protect you.
I never obey the signal. Okay.
The signal is just a suggestion.
Yeah, depending on where we are. But this is so fantastic.
Pay no attention to the stage directions.
Whatsoever. And we could chat. There's so many aspects to what everybody's doing and your background that we could chat here for a very long time, but we are going to bring it to a close today with many, many grateful thanks to Jacqi and to Faye. And I want you to support their individual and collective efforts, and certainly the Interplay organization, which is really working on the Jewish theater redevelopment in the community, reintroduction. And also we want you to stay tuned because we are coming up with our Wake Up and Live's Master the Arts Academy. And that's a concept I'm going to tell you more about a little later. But you may have the hint that we work very diligently here to help people develop their craft, their skills, their talent, their artistry. So be on the lookout for some coaching and some classes addressing Master the Art of Acting, Master the Art of Playwriting. And we'll be bringing in local and national instructors. See, I'm saying it out loud, which means we have to do it, to help us deliver quality training and education programs to our local talent. So until next time, Lester Bryant and I are glad you joined us. And we wish Jacqi and Faye a good, soggy, muggy afternoon in Cleveland. And until next time, I'm Sue Johnson on behalf of the Wake Up and Live's Actors Studio, saying, be sure to wake up and live with the arts every day.